With our scorching heat, sun protection is a big worry for Phoenicians. So it's no wonder a mother in Tacoma, Washington is fired up after she says a school sunscreen ban left her daughters severely burned. This story from last week is still trending today. Jessie Missioner sent her 11 and 9-year-old daughters off to an all-day school event without applying sunscreen. Well, when they got home, Mom claims the girls' faces were bright red. They were covered in welts and swollen. When Mom pressed school leaders, they told her there's a statewide policy that does not allow staff to apply sunscreen to students, and students can only apply it themselves if they have a doctor's note. The ban exists in 49 states, including Arizona, because the additives in lotions and sunscreens can cause an allergic reaction in children, and sunscreens are regulated by the FDA as an over-the-counter drug. So we want to know what you think of this law. Should teachers have the authority to slather sunscreen on your kids, or is that responsibility solely left up to students and parents?
Terry Gilberg from 550 KFYI joins us. Terry, let's go right to it. What's your take?
I think what's interesting about this story is that the girl, the girl and her sister, suffer from a condition called albinism, like having albino skin.
Right.
Very, very white skin. And in that case, I've got to tell you, until the law is changed in the state legislature, I have to side with the school on this. It seems silly on the surface to say, well, why can't she have sunscreen? But if you really can't, then where is the hat for that daughter? Where is the long sleeve shirt for that daughter? From the look of the videotape, these girls were very exposed. Where is the parental concern to make sure that her daughters are fully covered, and take that to the nurse, take that to the principal and say, my little girls can be out on the swing set, but they have to have a hat on. I mean, we wear hats in Arizona, plus sunscreen and so forth, because in this particular case, if the skin is that white, the mom needs to inform the school that when the kids are on the playground, even when it's very, very bright outside, or when it's cloudy, those girls are going to be overly exposed.
Yeah, California, go ahead.
I was just going to say, at the same time, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. However, I do have other concerns, and that is, don't you agree, though, that the school has some sort of responsibility here to protect children, protect my children, my neighbor's children, all the children?
Of course they do, and that goes through school boards and the State Department of Education and so forth. And I don't think from the nature of this story that these other states, the 49 states, haven't brought this up.
Yeah.
And maybe this particular story will move the envelope, or push the envelope, move the needle. Maybe it will, and I'm for that. But at the moment, this mom is very upset. But from the look of the videotape, look at how exposed her children were.
Yeah,
she has albino-faced children. What are you doing about it, Mom?
Yeah, and California, the only state to allow sunscreen without a doctor's note. I guess I've been breaking the law, because my children's school tells you, if there's going to be field days or outdoor activities, to make sure you have the sunscreen on, and we do that
when you leave the house.
But I pack it only because a lot of those activities happen well after the sunscreen is worn off. Because if you're putting it on in the morning, and then 3 or 4 hours later or 5 hours later is when they go outside, they're not protected. So I pack it in their backpack. So I guess I'm, breaking the law here.
Yes, you are. You're terrible.
I'm a terrible mother.
I'm more concerned that they can't have sunscreen at school. I'm more concerned about that. Was there a lawsuit down the road? We talked about these unusual lawsuits.
That's a
Did
good
a lawsuit bring that? I remember as a kid in elementary school, if I forgot my lunch, that the lunchroom monitor
would step up?
Yeah, and make us a peanut butter sandwich. And now with peanuts being outlawed, things like that, and now sunscreen being outlawed, I think that this is something that needs to be revisited.
But then we say that until an allergic reaction happens. You know what I'm saying? And then the parent of the child who has the allergic reaction wants to
But in the meantime, the mother can look at the back of a sunscreen label and say, my daughter, my son is allergic to thus and so, and therefore we're not going to pack this particular sunscreen when we go to the nurse, or simply get a doctor's note. That's the upshot, at least in the short term, until the legislature's changed the law.
Well, you can fall at the playground and break your arm, but are you going to sue over that? No. It's part of it. I'm sorry.
Well, you guys are sounding off on Facebook.
Yeah, Ian's writes in, first off, this is a no-brainer. Sunscreen doesn't last all day and needs to be reapplied. So, of course, they should be allowed to bring sunscreen to school.
And Laura Elam, she agrees with you, Terry. She says, I see where the school is coming from. People are so happy that if sunscreen is applied to a child and they do have an allergic reaction, the parents would have a fit. They are just protecting themselves.
Bill sounding off as well. If the school makes them go outside, they should let them use sunscreen. In fact, they should should supply it.
And Joya Torres says, I am sure it is to protect themselves. When kids bring stuff like that, they share. My child can use only a certain brand or she will break out in a rash.
That's another good point, and that's probably what's been discussed at school boards and at the state legislature.
Right. Great comments.
Yeah. ABC 15 now rolls.